upon my life, TPN, IV, stoma bags, 24-hour care, wheelchair, as not worth living. But to me it is. But to someone that's uninitiated, they would think that this is no quality. If you look at me on paper, I'm terrifying on paper.
And if you're gonna dream it big, there's someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small,
Hello everyone, so it's Monday night, Monday the 16th. It's been a busy day. I got up early because the bed people were coming to take my bed back after the trial, which I was really sad about, and now I've got to wait to see if the CCG will fund the equipment, fund the bed, and I can have a more comfortable, more useful bed than the current one I've got. I then had a phone call or a Skype call with the Magical team. So Magical is a research project looking at dignity therapy, legacy creation, meaning making, particularly for children but also for adults. And it's a really good research project. We're trying to get funding, but today the whole point was about doing the preparation for the website, which I'm going to do. So we were talking through what we want on the website, and I then went and purchased everything and going to get started. Had a couple of hours to spare, so then I went and walked Molly dog, and she enjoyed that. And then came back and I had a Skype call for 100,000 Genomes, or Genomics England. They'd asked me to chair a workshop for young people, asking young people about the format of the letters being sent out about reconsent. So when children that are in the 100,000 Genomes get to 16, they have to reconsent to stay part of it. So we were talking all about that and about the resources and the documents necessary for that to happen. And then this evening, not done much this evening, tried to get a little bit of work done. And that's my Monday. I've got an event tomorrow, got a Skype meeting on Wednesday, another event Thursday, and 2 meetings on Friday. So follow me on this week. Hi everyone, it's Tuesday the 17th. It's about 6:30 in the morning. I've been up since 5:30. Takes a good time to get me ready and up and dressed and everything like that, and doing my meds, so we have to leave a lot of time. We've got the Cambridge Palliative Care Managed Clinical Network today, and I'm giving a speech on children, young people and transition, so sharing my experiences and some of the key points when looking after especially young people moving up from children's services into adult services and beyond, and the fact that we just want to live our lives. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of people that I know and meeting new people and making an impact, as I always do. And, that's what I love doing, and I'll take you along for the ride. I hope you enjoy it.
So how does that fit with the Children's Hospice grant bit, but actually how does it fit with the wider children's palliative care sector, so that we can all know how we can access that extra cash? So that, as I say, there could be a little bit of a moment in the sun for us to be thinking about, and again thinking now, if we have an opportunity in our areas, if we had some cash, how might we use that and how might we benefit children and families better?
What is it that we can do to try and not get to that horrible conflict stage? What can we do along the way to help families get the best outcomes for their child?
So it'll be really interesting to see when the work comes out how many thousands of children and young people we're talking about in this world of using and being part of palliative care services. But we know that they're increasing in number, we know that they're increasing in complexity, we know that there's been huge evolution in the last 30 years in terms of models of care.
Just let us make mistakes, because that is how we learn, and that's how everyone learns. We need that little bit of freedom, that little bit of leeway to learn, to grow and to develop. And it is a learning curve for both parties and the professionals indeed, because you're learning a new patient, a new team. A lot of paediatric conditions aren't seen in adults until recently. There's all these different factors in it. But it's about collaborating and working together, so the professionals working with my mum, working with me. And I also think the professionals didn't really prepare my mum So not only did they not prepare me for being an adult, they didn't prepare my mum for what adult services meant for me and what adult life meant for me. But I think part of that was because I wasn't expected to have an adulthood. Everyone just assumed I'd die before my 18th birthday, transition would never be a factor, my mum would never have to step back and it wouldn't matter. But also, some parents never will be able to step back. If your child's got a learning disability, they're never, like me, I can learn, I can do things, I can advocate for myself. For some with profound learning disabilities, they can't step up. They might be able to choose what they want to wear on a day or what they want to eat for their dinner, but they can't make a decision about what financial thing to pay or what consent form to sign. And it's really important that, you know, there can't be a one-size transition policy. You can't have a one-size-fits-all. Because if you implement a policy that treats everyone the same, you're disadvantaging certain groups in the system. And if you build it on people like me, you're disadvantaging the people with learning disabilities. But if you build it upon a learning disability model, people like me don't fit that either. So you need to have a transition policy that recognises we're unique individuals. We need to be able to adapt that policy to meet the needs of every patient and family, because we are all unique. And you can't try and force us to fit in the box we don't fit in. And often we don't fit in the boxes. We occupy every grey area that there is. See, meds don't stop while we're out. Still got to do all my IVs while we're out and about. Just have to find a space and get on with it and do it.
The respect form is here and will be familiar to many of you. The thing that I feel is most added to by having respect is I really like their concentric triangles based scale, which allows you to have a conversation with the family about care planning, where you can very honestly say, on this spectrum, do you prioritise comfort even at the expense of potentially some time of life, or do you prioritise sustaining life even at the expense of some comfort?
So I'm finally back in bed after a very long day. We're up very early, as you know, and you know it's a long old day, and where I haven't been well the last couple of months, well 4 or 5 months now, the infections in my body are so severe and so chronic and complex that they just make me feel awful when I spike temperatures on a daily basis. And so, you know, my temperature definitely went up today. I could feel that telltale kind of aching of all my muscles and the headache and the nausea and feeling really sleepy, but I pushed through it, as I do. I always push through things. I don't really listen to my body, and I advocate pacing like it's no tomorrow and then don't actually do it. But today, oh, what a fantastic day, what a fantastic event. It was for the East of England Palliative Care for Children and Young People Managed Clinical Network, and it was a really good event. There was quite a mix of, you know, presentations and people there, from doctors to nurses to, you know, people managing hospices. It was a really good event, and I spoke about my experiences as a young person with a life-limiting condition and benefiting from palliative care, how palliative care has benefited me, the hospice support, being a young adult, wanting to live my life, wanting to explore adulthood and adult life and do all the things that other young people do. And also talking about transition specifically, so transition policy and you know, my experiences of transition and the impact of things not going so well through transition. So I got a lot of lovely feedback about my speech and my comment. A lot of comments afterwards. A lot of people wanted to talk to me or want me to help with their work, including the hospice that support me, the social worker wanting to talk to me about transition, as she's not an expert in transition, so that was very exciting. So I gave my talk obviously just after lunch, so about 2 o'clock, and we'd had a wide range of different speeches on before then. So like we had my friend Anna Gill, who's been a big supporter of mine, so she was talking about the cost of caring, and that's not the cost of caring as in financial costs, that's the impact on families and on staff and on the young people or children. So that was a really interesting speech, and Anna talks so well, and she just puts it across in a way that you can understand so easily, but makes it sound like, you know, it makes you feel like you already knew it in a kind of way. It's really great. Then we had Dr. Yifan Liang talking about the management of pain in children with complex neurodisability. Now that was very interesting, because I don't have a lot of experience with neurodisability, so that's not my area of expertise, but actually I learned so much. I was scribbling notes down the whole time she was speaking because it was so interesting what she was saying, and, you know, noticing pain, and even down to saying, you know, parents are the ones that are often reporting that their child is in pain, and it's how you manage the distress of the parents as well as the pain of the young person, and it was just fantastic. Then we had a tea and coffee, and then we had just Professor Jane Code and Dr. Victoria Montgomery talking about, you know, looking back to move forward. So they've 2 different projects there they've worked on with East Anglia Children's Hospice, looking at kind of the experiences and, you know, how we move forward with services and what the benefit of services are, and getting the evaluation there and evaluating services and evaluating the impact of services. So that was a really interesting presentation. We then had other different presentations. So we had one from Havens talking about their service and stuff like that. So it was really interesting. After lunch then I gave my speech, and I felt my speech went very well, and I got a lot of positive response to that. Then we had Dr. Emily Harrop talking about children and young people's advanced care planning. Now that was really interesting, and the plan that they've been developing for many, many years is now coming to fruition, and the impact of that and how many people are benefiting from it in their service at Helen House and in that local area in Oxford. And she also talked a bit about the DIPPER study they're doing about pain relief, talking about whether we should use transmucosal morphine as opposed to oral morphine and things like that. So that was very interesting. And then after that we had a transition update from a couple of different places. So across Cambridgeshire, the Cambridgeshire Collaborative talking about their work, and then Helen Finlinson talking about St Elizabeth's, their short break service, and Zest. So it's been a fantastic day, got a lot of positive comments, had a wonderful time, really learnt a lot, took so many notes, but I am shattered. I'm now going to relax, and I will pick up tomorrow. So it's Thursday the 19th of September. We're here in beautiful Russell Square. So Molly's had a really nice walk. She's run around, chased the birds, had a good sniff, been to the toilet. It's just beautiful. I've had to be really careful because there's fountains back there, and Molly would have gone in them if she'd have had any kind of chance. She did look at them and try to run over, but yeah. And I'm looking forward to my meeting. It's for NHS England. It's about end-of-life care and personalised care, so I'm giving a speech about my experiences and helping their workshop discussions, and yeah, it's going to be really good. We've just got to walk to the venue now, have some meds, because meds don't stop when we're out and about, and then off we go. So I shall update you later. My needs have to be micromanaged every second of every day, and I can't do that for myself. I can direct my care very well, I know everything about my care, but I just physically can't do it. But because I'm an activated patient, I'm able to say, oh, it's time for this medication, or if a nurse is new, perhaps not quite sure on our protocol, I can advise on that. And that's because I've been empowered by my professionals to be an activated patient. They've always encouraged me to know, right from when I was young, you know, what was going on and to take control of my health. And I'm just lucky that I am, you know, I have the ability to do it. I have a good family support. I live in an area with good palliative care and good health care. And for me, palliative and end-of-life care and hospice care enables me to live the life I want to lead. And that's what's really important to me. I was not supposed to live to my 18th birthday. I turned 26 in a couple of weeks. I call it my expiry date. I've far exceeded my expiry date. But I think that's because I've got good palliative care. You know, what matters to me? So, walking Molly and Molly herself, you know, going and doing my work, spending time with my family, making memories, things like going to a festival. We go every year with a charity that provides a hospital in a tent, basically. We go that every year. And being able to spend quality time with my family, because, you know, I don't know how long I'm going to have. I'm not supposed to still be here. And I just want to make the most of whatever time I have to live the best life possible. For me, personal health budgets are their choice, their control. Control is really important to me because I have so little of it. And flexibility. If I want to go away to a conference where I can take a couple of nurses, a couple of PAs, off I go and I'm done. And that's my life. And it is about shifting relationships, and that's what personalised care and palliative care has done for me. It's made sure that people look at me as Lucy, not Lucy the patient, Lucy the person with a lot of lives and goals and things to do. And obviously part of that is around personalised care and support planning. So we all know that is the cornerstone of all of personalised care from the long-term conditions up. And I didn't have good personalised care and support planning early on, but since the hospice came on board, it's been fantastic. And then personalised care has come through and everyone's starting to get it. If we did personalised care and support planning earlier, could we be better at identifying people when they start to reach the last year of life, last 6 months of life? So if you're reviewing them regularly with a personalised care and support plan, you start to see common threads of when things are deteriorating, they're perhaps not meeting their goals or their outcomes, and they're on that downward slant. And I just think, that good reviews and good personalised care and support planning could be the key that we have to managing the needs of people with life-limiting conditions, but also you can map out their needs as early as possible to make sure you can forward plan, you can meet their needs, you can put things in place. People like me, we end up with a care plan with a hospice and a care plan with the district nurses and a care plan with the local hospital, and you end up with all these different care plans and an advanced care plan. And it's taken me years to get everyone to understand that I just wanted one plan. I didn't want to go, well, what plan have you got? And what does it say in there? How old is it? And we're updating my advanced care plan at the moment. And what I've done is I've actually taken it upon myself to create, I call it my bag for end of life. It's like the bag for life, but it's got so it's got all my documents in it. It's got my personalised care and support plan, my lasting power of attorney, my advanced decision, all of that in a red bag so that my mum, my nurse or a paramedic can grab it and take it with me. Like the red bag scheme that we use with care homes, but that isn't in the community, so I took it upon myself to make it my own. And that's really important to me because the chances of me, as we know, I've survived sepsis 14 times. I've got a lot of chronic infections, and this year's been really difficult because we've always had plan A's, plan B's, and now it's just like we've just got to keep going for as long as possible. The infections are so severe and so resistant, we can't treat you unless you're septic because we run out of antibiotics. And my team and I regularly talk about the fact that it's probably me going into hospital with sepsis, multi-organ failure, ending up in ITU, that's going to be how I end my life. And actually making sure that my wishes are followed, and that if I'm going to be persistent vegetative state, don't keep my TPN going, don't keep ventilation going. But also, the other side of it for me is someone could look upon my life, TPN, IV, stoma bags, 24-hour care, wheelchair, as not worth living. But to me it is. So the advanced care plan is as much about, what I don't want, as much about what I do want. I'm reminding people that actually I have good quality of life. But to someone that's uninitiated, they would think that this is no quality. If you look at me on paper, I'm terrifying on paper. Just when you try to get new nurses for a package, they'll be like, no. So I want people to know that actually I love my life the way it is. So keep me going now, but when it reaches that threshold where I won't want treatment, then stop. And obviously with the long-term plan, we want to roll out personal health budgets to 200,000 people by 23-24. And I do believe if we start doing personalised care and support planning earlier with patients with life-limiting conditions, you might not get to the point of needing fast track because you can start to proactively plan earlier and start to put plans in place. And also, again, that monitoring with the plan helps kind of just see what's going on, if they're not perhaps meeting their outcomes or their health's deteriorating. Because the thing about personalised care and support planning is it does bring with it regular reviews. And I think that's really powerful. We need to stop making carers compulsory. We need to look at other services and then say to the carer, which parts of your care, or their care, do you feel you're able to do, which parts you need more support with. And actually if you identify that with carers, you provide a more tailored service based on the whole family. We're back in sunny Russell Square. Molly's having a good run around on the grass and all around. You spotted the fountains that are still there from earlier. You'd love to go for a swim, wouldn't you? My speech went very well, as you will have seen, and really had a great time, and just enjoying walking Molly in the sun. Beautiful. Park surrounds. There's the fountains that Molly wants to. Good girl. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. Yeah, so that's pretty much how today's been. I'm really proud of my speech and had a lovely time and got to see some friends and make some good conversation and have a really lovely time. We're on our way home now. I'm just going to get Molly back on the lead, head home and drive home. Yeah, I'll speak to you later. So I'm back in bed after a long day, really great event, and really enjoyed the meeting, talking about palliative and end-of-life care and personalised care, how the two interlink and how we can use personalised care to improve palliative and end-of-life care. And yeah, that was really good. I saw a lot of people that I know and got to chat to people, met some new people, got some new followers on Twitter, as I see. Molly's gained another good few following fans, so followers and fans, so that's great. And my speech went really well, I feel. People were very receptive to it, and I was there really making sure that, to remind everyone, this is about people. And when I say people, I don't just mean patients, I mean carers, I mean communities, I mean staff. Because actually, the system is the system, but it runs on people and it benefits people. So after all, it is all about people, whether you're benefiting, receiving or supporting, or you're actually providing that service. It's all about the people and people and the culture and this, how people interact with the system and how the system benefits each other, because healthcare is an interaction between the people, the working in the NHS and the system, and the patients in the system. So yeah, it's been a really good day. Molly really enjoyed her walks in Russell Square, and I managed to avoid her going in the fountain, which was quite good, but I did let her pop her feet in a little bit before we left, just on the side. And yeah, it's been a really good day, and I've come home to quite a few emails, and unfortunately I got a phone call. I had an appointment 5th of September, and I've got a lot of severe infections. I have 4 chronic infections in my body, one of which tends to make really poorly and has caused sepsis quite a few times, or 9 times, which is the E. coli in my kidneys. I then have peg site infections, and my redundant bladder is full of infections. But after years and years and years of being ill 4 or 5 times a year, but being fairly okay in between, the infections are now so severe and so bad that there's not a lot we can do because they're not responding to antibiotics anymore, and I have to save antibiotics for when I'm septic. Of course, every day now I'm spiking fevers. I woke up this morning with a fever, and I'm feeling poorly, and the muscle aches and all that kind of stuff that goes with it, and sleepiness and tiredness. There's not a lot we can do, and all of this year my CRP has not gone below 27. And got home from hospital from the event today. I got a phone call from the hospital from the Royal London to say I need to go up there next week to have more bloods taken and more urine cultures to try and get to the bottom of what's going on, because I don't really know. So we'll have to do that. I've had to jog around a couple of calls, which has been really hard because I'm so busy at the moment, but hopefully we can get to the bottom of why my CRP is so high and why the infections are so bad, and if there's anything we can really do about it, which I don't think there is. Just the reality of life for the life of the illness, unfortunately. This is part of my reality. We always knew that this stage would come where there wouldn't be any more plan A's or plan B's or plan C's at all. It's just keep Lucy going as long as possible, keep managing her needs as best as possible, keep prolonging her life as much as we can, but there's not a lot we can do, and I am deteriorating, I am getting worse, and I'm not as well as I have been, and yet life is so great, and I've got so much going on, and my new job, and all the advocacy work I do, and the committees, and someone said to me today when he looked at my email signature, I don't know how you fit all that you do in, and to realize I don't know how I do it, but it's really hard, and I suffer for it, and I struggle, and it just exhausts me. It pushes my body beyond my limit all the time, but it gives me so much pleasure. This is my life, this is what I love to do. So it's hard, but hopefully we can get to the bottom of this. I'm not confident, and I don't know how we're going to get my CRP down because the infections won't respond to antibiotics, but it just needs to be looked into, and I think I need to see the team again next week and see what they say. So we will see, but today's been a successful day. I'm having a good time. I'm quite tired, but I'm still a little bit buzzy from adrenaline, and I'm now looking forward to tomorrow. I've got a speech for Healthcare Conferences UK on care of dying adults in the last days of life. So I'm speaking on my experiences of palliative care, personalised care, my life, living my life, the support I need, but actually how this interrelates with policies and frameworks to give everyone a good end of life experience. So information sharing, EPACs, the whole picture. So I'm hoping to be a real advocate for the patient experience, and I'm looking forward to that. And then we've got to dash across London to Skipton House for the Medicines Review Committee for the GP contracts and the primary care network. So looking forward to that as well. It's wonderful to be able to contribute in so many different ways, but 2 events in one day is going to be really tough. But I love what I do, so I will see you tomorrow. So we've just been to a Healthcare Conferences UK event. I gave a speech on palliative and end-of-life care, talking about the NICE standards and the end-of-life commitment and the ambitions. So that was really interesting. It was a really good speech, some lovely questions afterwards. That's always good. And so that was a 20-minute speech, took about 10 minutes of questions. We've just come out to walk Molly in Cavendish Square, so you're going to have a little bit of run before we go off to Skipton House, NHS England, for the Structured Medicine Review Board. And it's a beautiful day, it's a beautiful park, as you can see. Yeah, so we're having a nice day and tired, but looking forward to it. Just had some meds and then we're going to head off to Skipton House, as I said, and go and do this meeting. I'll update you later. So we're here at Skipton House. I've got my Structured Medicine Review meeting for the primary care network's GP contract. Just ready to go in and get ready and enjoy the meeting. It was a really productive meeting. I really enjoy it. Got my paperwork all written with annotated with all comments on it, and I'm looking forward to going. So we've just had the last meeting of the medicines review thing for the GP contract. So that's been really interesting. Come out early, which is always nice. And so we're just doing my IVs. So Mum's just doing those now. And it's been a good day, good meeting, and just tired and looking forward to going home and getting back into bed and going to sleep probably. But I'll probably sleep on the way home as well. Molly's been a really good girl and it's just been a good day. Good speech this morning and a good meeting now, and I'm very happy.
And if you're gonna dream it big, there's someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard